Welcome to the Genius Talk podcast. I'm your host Atul Raj from the bestemailmarketer.com, and today we have Paul Gibbons with us. Paul, thank you so much for joining us.
Good to see you here. Good to be here. Good to be in India.
Awesome, brother. So, for our listeners who don't know you, can you tell them who you are and what do you do?
Well, it's kind of funny. I'm old, so I got a long backstory. I won't tell you too much. Right now, I started writing books when I was 53. I've written 7. I essentially do 4 things. I write and research, which is really something I love doing.
Yeah.
But there's a but there. I'll get to that in a minute. I give keynote speeches around the world, rarely in India, but certainly on 5 continents. I also play high stakes poker. So if you've ever seen poker on television, I'm one of those guys. So, and that's something I compete at the highest level of poker. And also I trade securities. I trade the market every morning. First couple of hours is usually, trying to optimize, I think. So I do a lot of different things. I'm 65 years old. I live in Denver. 2 kids, 2 boys who are young. Well, not that young, 21 and 15. I do this thing called F45 for exercise. I just recently lost 50 pounds, so I'm in the best shape of my life. So anyway, yeah, that's a little picture of me.
That's great. Among all those books, okay, which one is your favorite?
Of all the things I do,
I know from all the books you have written,
all the
which
books.
one is your favorite?
All right, so there's one that has sold about 5 copies. It really did badly. I think it's the best
Yeah.
book I ever wrote. It's called The Spirituality of Work and Leadership. And what it does is it takes insights from all the faith traditions, from the Gita, from Buddhist, from Christian writings, from philosophical writings, and tries to say, what's this thing called spirituality? And what does it tell us about work and about meaning and about purpose and about connection? So that has some of my best ideas in it. This is a podcast where you talk a lot about marketing.
Yeah.
I have no idea why, because it's not like there's 1,000 books in this space, or leadership, there's 50,000 books in this space. There's like 5. So I don't know whether the topic is just something like, if you're a business person, you think, this spirituality stuff is BS. It's not really for me. And if you're a spirituality person, you're not really interested in the work side of it. But I think the meeting between spirituality and work is a very interesting one. What I say famous in inverted commas for is organizational change and culture. And so I got like 5 of my books are on that subject. And I have one book on AI called Adopting AI, the People First Approach. But what my brand, I don't know, I don't really have a brand in the marketplace, but if I did have a brand in the marketplace, I'm sort of a little bit famous for organizational change and organizational culture. As my dad says to me, he says, you're a little bit famous for a lot of things rather than famous for one thing. I said, that's my disease. That's my disease, just in a nutshell. You know how dads are, right? They get right to the point. They don't mess around.
Okay, so how has your research in behavioral science shaped your approach to organizational change and leadership?
Well, I mean, one of the things I think your listeners will find this interesting is there's a big gap between what people intend and what they do. So losing weight is a perfect example. Meditating is another example. Having a good routine and a discipline for whatever it is, for marketing or for your life. It's easy to write things down and have good intentions and to have good values. It's very hard to translate those into behaviors. And the mistake that most businesses make is they think if you persuade someone that something's a good idea, they'll go and do it. And that's not true. That's not the way the world works, right? That's the way nothing works that way. It doesn't work that way in business, and it doesn't work that way for countries, and it doesn't work that way for individuals. Just persuading something is a good idea is not good enough. Just giving people a training course that gives them new skills doesn't mean they'll use them. I read one time that 80% of executives had taken a time management course and 5% used what was in it. Right? So that's the interesting thing with behavioral science is this thing called human behavior. So everybody's interested in marketing. People are very interested in it. How do I generate clicks? Right? You guys, you marketing guys. All right. Thing. So behavioral science actually learns a lot from marketing about why people do what they do and how beyond just persuading someone of the value of something, what else do you have to do to get them to do it? In your case, might be click, and other people's, it might be meditate. Anyway,
Okay, so what does the people first approach to AI adoptions means to you, and how can today's leaders use it to navigate the intelligence transition?
so the intelligence transition is something not everybody agrees. Some people think AI, well, whatever, it's just another thing. It's like Excel, not whatever. It's not very interesting technology. I think it's transformational. I'll tell you why. It's because throughout human history, going back 50 or 100,000 years, all of what we've done, if you look at the mammals 100,000 years ago, I think you'll find this interesting. I hope you look at them on the savannah in Africa, probably, right? And there's a bunch of humans, and they're tigers and lions and gazelles. We're not as fast as the gazelles. We're not as ferocious as the lions. We don't have fangs. We don't have protected armor like the rhino. And if you are like an alien spaceship on some sports betting, they say they have sports betting casino in the alien spaceship looking down 100,000 years ago, and they go, who are you going to bet on to be the apex predator on the planet? I'd be like, I'm taking the cheetah. But yet here humans are. And part of why we are where we are is really two reasons. One is our big thinking brain. Yeah, obviously, right? No other species built the International Space Station, right?
Yeah,
So our brains are obviously part of the story. What's also part of our story is our ability to collaborate with one another. And that's kind of an interesting part of the story, because a lot of the dialogue around humankind is like, what defines us as competition is kind of bullshit. I mean, it's part of the human story, but the real human story is how groups of 8 humans, or 10 humans and hunter gatherers survived, not just survived, but thrived and prospered and came to dominate the entire planet. And that's an interesting story. And it's because we work together. So in today, with all of the hostility between countries and all the hostility between political groups and all the hostility, you know, almost everywhere you see in the world, we're going in the opposite direction. I think part of what made us great is working together. And part of what's happening now, there are a lot of leaders in the world who are committed to this, is saying, I'm the strongest guy in the room. I'm going to do exactly what I want, and you guys can go screw yourself. And that's not the noblest human thing to do.
yeah.
And it also doesn't work.
Mhm,
It works short term.
mhm.
If you're the big guy on the playground, you'll win in the short term when you get to be a grown up. And some of the other countries in the world have economies that are growing up. India's, China's, Brazil's, they're growing up. The United States is not going to be the biggest one on the playground anymore. And the other kids on the playground are going to be able to say, hey, hang on, this doesn't work for us. There's some noise in the background. I don't know if you want to do anything about that. It's pretty bad.
Like my side.
I don't know. Oh, it's an echo.
Okay, everything is good my side.
I think
And
maybe it's an
yeah,
echo, and AI will take care of it.
yeah, exactly.
The machine god will take care of everything.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you see the future of AI as more of a doomsday scenario or a path to utopia, and why?
It's not an easy thing to do because it could go either way. You can use it to build
Yeah.
weapons, or you can use it to help cure cancer. Humans, we get to make that decision. Now, unfortunately,
Yeah.
right now, the decisions are being
Yeah.
made not necessarily in the interests of everybody on the planet. Do you hear about
Mhm.
AI being used to solve poverty or irrigation, or providing clean drinking water to the 2 billion people who don't have it? No, you don't hear about that, right? You hear about it solving climate change? No, you don't hear about that. What you hear about is it's going to respond to your emails for you.
Yeah.
Terrific. Yeah, whatever. And so, unfortunately, most of the interesting stuff now, well, I said not the interesting stuff. A lot of the uses now, we're talking about commercial use cases. I'm inspired by the non commercial use cases where it could do some good for human beings, which is why the subtitle of my book, Adopting AI, is a people first approach. Like, let's use it to make the world better for people. And having an email, these commercial, consumer use cases,
Mhm.
yeah, to make your life a little bit better, but I'd rather make everyone's life a lot better. And
Yep.
so that's what and that's why I called it the people first approach. Also, when it comes to using it in business, the problem is in the technology. The technology is very powerful already. It's much more powerful than businesses need. Current
Yeah.
LLMs are extraordinary. The problem is when the LLM, I'm using LLM in quotes, right? It's more common. It's not just an LLM, it's other stuff. There's agentic AI. But when this technology hits human systems, human mindset, human leadership, human culture, human processes, when it hits the real world doesn't say, "Oh, we've been waiting for you. Welcome in. Here's what," it doesn't work that way. So one of my favorite images from one of my talks
Mhm.
is you have Einstein, picture of Einstein, and you have a bunch of guys digging a ditch, right?
Huh?
And Einstein says, "How can I help, my bros? What's up? How can I help?" And it's a stupid thing, right? So the reason it's kind of funny is it's stupid because a
Yeah.
lot of organizations are thinking, "Oh, and I'll take this team of 5 people and I'll replace one of them with AI." Not so many are thinking like that anymore, but that's a way of thinking about it is how do I
Mhm.
eliminate jobs and replace them with
Huh.
an AI, right? But it's kind
Yep.
of stupid. What you're doing when you do that is you're handing AI a shovel, handing Einstein a shovel. Like it's not good. He's not very good with a shovel, and it's not really, a full use of his capability. And so, what agentic AI requires, which is really incredibly difficult, is
Mhm.
redesigning work throughout that team and sometime across multiple teams is redesigning the flow of the work and looking where intelligence can automate or expand or enhance that. And it's not that easy. Believe me, it's not that easy because, I mean, there are many, many reasons for it. Maybe I won't go into those now. So it's interesting.
You can
I'm
go.
not a marketing guy, so that's really something that has been to my enormous cost. Some people, my passionate fans, think my book on organizational change is one of the best 5 books ever written. It doesn't
Yeah.
sell. It doesn't sell like that. My book on spirituality and leadership is the only one like it. Probably, probably the best. There are people who would say it's the best. So I'm really pretty terrible at marketing because this is kind of a childish sentiment, thought
Mhm.
to myself that ideas should stand on their own merit. So for most of my career, I've been a public intellectual, written books, people love them, thousands of students, rooms full of CEOs that I've spoken to and everything like that. I do no marketing or until recently. I've never, ever, ever done anything that I built a business that was one of the fastest growing consultancies in the world. We grew 70% a year. We did no marketing, zero marketing. But having good ideas only gets you so far. It's like that thing we said about behavioral science. It's like good ideas, like whatever, right? They only get you so far. And that's true with me. Unfortunately, I'm not proud of it because it's kind of
Mhm.
a childish sentiment, I think, is that, you know, people will discover me if I just sit here and think great thoughts. You understand what I mean? I don't know if this is making any sense to you.
You know what? I'm curious to know, like, how did you grow the company 70% per year?
I mean, I start small. I'm not NVIDIA, right? But for a leadership consulting firm,
Mhm.
50 people is very big. It's a very, very, very difficult business to scale because what you're doing is selling hours.
Mhm.
Selling programs, and our programs were very, very expensive. There aren't that many customers around, but we grew 70% a year from, like a couple $100,000 in revenue to like $5 or $6 million in revenue in like 5 years. That's about
Mhm.
70% growth rate.
Yeah.
And then I sold the business. I was married to, I was married. My wife was in the business there, and when we divorced,
Mhm.
she got the business, and I
Okay.
became a professor. She got the good stuff. Well, I got some good stuff too.
Yep. You become
So
the
marketing is,
professor.
marketing has really been a weakness for me
Mhm.
my whole life, and certainly my career as a writer.
Mhm.
I like to think of the world in this way, right? There are people with amazing ideas nobody's ever heard of, and there are really, really, really famous influencer type people who are kind of stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you.
You feel me, right? You
Yeah.
feel?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, if you look at some of the stuff that passes as leadership wisdom in the world, they're talking out their backsides. But
Mhm.
yet they're tremendously charismatic and good looking. There's one guy called Simon Sinek, right?
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
guy, a great storyteller. He hasn't had an original thought ever,
Mhm.
but he's so good at packaging and marketing.
Yeah.
And there are very, very, very few people in the world who are both great thinkers and great marketers. I don't know if you'd agree with that.
I agree with you.
You're gonna offend some people here if you say yes. I can say it. You can't say it.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Anyhow, that's kind of my marketing story. So I'm using AI a lot now to help me with my deficiencies because God knows I'm deficient at marketing.
So is that helping you?
Well, just sort of started. I played in the World Series of Poker this summer. I came very close to winning $10 million. I came 30th. I came 30th in a tournament where
No,
first was $10 million. I came 10th in a tournament when first was $750,000. I came 10th. Like I came awfully close to some stupid money
yeah.
in poker. And then when all of that was done, because when I'm
Uh-huh.
doing that, I'm playing 12-hour days and I'm playing every single day. Right, I'm working 7 days a week. I'm playing 12-hour, 14-hour days some days. It's really taxing. It's really exhausting. All that finished in August. And then you wake up in August and you say, okay, what am I going to do for the rest of the year? It's the
And
luxury you have of working for yourself, right?
yeah.
Is like, okay, what am I going to do now? Do I want to write another book? Well, the books I've written already don't sell many copies. So, okay, so maybe not that. What should I do? And I have discovered something called Substack, which I know people are going to go, yeah, yeah, whatever. I've been on that for 5 years. But
Uh-huh.
when people first told me about Substack, I'm like, I don't want another platform. Are you kidding me? Between LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all the other bullshit out there, I barely have time for those. I hate
Yeah.
LinkedIn, which is supposed to be the one for professionals. Such nonsense on it. Now it's polluted with ads. It's polluted with influencer types. The content you see isn't curated, so they just fire some slop at you and
Uh-huh.
everything like that. But Substack provides curated content. You decide what kind of content you like and who you want to follow. It's ad
Uh-huh.
free. And
Uh-huh.
actually, what I'm finding is the people on there are really smart.
On Substack.
Yeah, I think they're really, really the level of commentary is much, much higher. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I have never said that about Instagram. I've never said, "Oh, that's boy, that's brilliant," and
Uh-huh.
I've never said that about LinkedIn. It's like, "Wow, that's a fascinating idea." Never ever. And I'm on Substack, and I find the level of commentary is just much, much higher. So for many, many reasons, I think I found a home. And so I'm going to work really hard to try and build my Substack presence. It's called Think
Uh-huh.
Bigger, Think Better, by the way. Here we go. Let me get a pitch. Think Bigger, Think Better. Paul Gibbons on Substack. Brand new. It's been there 2 weeks, but I'm really excited about making it. I'm really excited about sharing some ideas that I don't think people have heard before. And
Uh-huh.
I'm also, because I used to use LinkedIn and I could barely stand to read most of the stuff on there. But I used to post on there because you kind of like have to,
Yeah.
even though I don't even know if it's ever generated a dollar in revenue for me. But you have to post on LinkedIn. And on Substack, I actually enjoy reading some of the stuff people say. It's crazy. You're like, oh wow, and it's if I'm gonna doom scroll,
Uh-huh.
you know, I'd rather doom scroll on Substack than on any other platform. I still go on Instagram for DJs, you like EDM. Like I still watch DJs on Instagram. That's all I use Instagram for is DJs.
Yeah. It's a good platform for music.
Yeah, it's really good for music. It's really good for music. And sometimes when I can't sleep, I wake up, it's 3 in the morning. I just watch all these like EDM clips, these DJs doing that.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then that's not really helpful, by the way. I don't recommend that for those of
Yeah.
you,
But
for those of
yeah.
you who are wellness influencers. I don't recommend like waking up at 3 a.m. and listening to EDM and watching
Yeah.
DJ. Think that's probably not helping. But anyway,
Only Paul can do that.
I don't know. I'm not a perfect person, right? I do some stuff that's kind of stupid sometimes.
Yeah. By the way, when you're talking about your book, you can sell your book by using this way. Like you can look at who you wrote this book for, okay? Then you can reach out to people who have those kind of people on their audience and send those like influencer your book and ask them like to check it out. And if they like, if they think it's useful, then they can share it with their audience.
Yeah, I had never done that, so that's a really good idea. I mean, one of my best
Uh,
selling book has sold several 100,000 copies, so it's not like it sold nothing.
you can do more.
The
It's
rest of
possible.
them don't, the rest of them don't do as well. And I think for the quality of the book, a couple 100,000 copies isn't that many. People say that, okay,
Mhm.
that's a lot. My book sold 10 copies. Yours sold 200,000. 200,000 is a lot. I don't think it's a lot. And my other books, like the book on spirituality and work and leadership,
Mhm.
hundreds of copies maybe.
Mhm.
And it's really unique. Like it's so unique, nobody's interested. That's why I worry about it.
I-
It's talking about things that people aren't interested. Maybe in India, people would be interested. India is known as a very spiritual culture. I don't know whether that's. I mean, it's broadly correct, I suppose.
yeah, but it's changing here too.
Well, it's said that about India is that people aren't necessarily religious in the sense of going to temples and everything,
Mhm.
but the stories from religion and the ethics of religion are sewn through the fabric of everyday life in a way that it's not in other countries. So it's not really something in India that you read in books or that you go to a temple and do, but it's more something that involves how you live your day to day life. That's what people say.
Yeah.
It may not entirely be true. Anyway, I'm going to say a prayer to Ganesh anyway for my next book.
Huh, yeah. Maybe
Or
that is going to help you more. No,
anyway, there are a lot of. I think for somebody like me who's really deficient in marketing, AI is a blessing. I'll give you an example I give for my talk. Like
okay.
we have a television show in America called The Bear. Right? You've seen it maybe. I don't know. The Bear.
The,
Okay, it's on Apple. Anyway, it's a cooking show. I hate cooking. I hate. I never cook. I maybe
me too.
cook like toast once a week. Right?
Yeah.
Like Uber Eats is my best friend.
Uh,
What's interesting, it's about a Michelin star chef. So a young guy, 28 years old, who wins an award like the greatest young chef in the world under 30. And he inherits this restaurant. It's a really shitty restaurant in Chicago. And he says, I want to turn this into a Michelin star restaurant. And what does this guy love? If you think about this as a marketing person, he loves cooking. He loves the art of cooking. That's what he loves. But what is his life? His life is invoicing, scheduling, inventory management, staff management, menu management, all the bullshit,
yeah.
right? And so this guy that's the most amazing chef in the world is spending 80% of time on bullshit, right? 80% on time of stuff he hates. And that's the life of a lot of people in the world. Like if you go into human resources, for example, right? You
Mhm,
go
mhm.
into human resources, you have some commitment to people, right? You're in human resources, not finance, right? Let's say one of the things that gives you it's like making a difference to people
Yeah.
and making their lives at work better and helping your company hire good people. And once they're there, helping nurture and engage them and retain them, right? That's why you go into human resources. But when you get in there,
Mhm.
80% of what you're doing isn't that. A lot of it is drudgery and busy work and form filling and all of that kind of stuff. And that's the case, I think, with a lot of jobs in the world, is that the stuff that we love is not stuff we end up doing. There's a lot of stuff that we need to do that we don't like. Okay, I say this to my children, like everybody has to take a turn doing the dishes, right? So there's never going to be a life full of 100% stuff you're passionate about. But when your life is dominated by that stuff, you lose the passion and the joy of doing it. So for a chef, if you had an AI agent that could do all the invoicing, all the inventory management, all the staff managing, all the scheduling, all the logistics, all the finance, all the bill paying, if you could have that done by a computer,
Mhm.
well, all of a sudden you're free to do what you care about, which is making beautiful food. And same in human resources is like you get to spend more time with people, doing things
Mhm.
for people and less paperwork and drudgery. And so that's the utopian kind of Star Trek vision for humanity is it takes away all of the stuff that we have to do that we kind of suck at and don't like doing.
Mhm.
You get that done by thing and it frees up your mind for creativity, for exploration, and for learning. That's the utopian vision. Not everybody buys into that, but I think there's a certain inspiringness about that. Don't you think?
Yep. I agree with you.
I hope I haven't taken up too much of your time. We're at 30 minutes. Is this about like when you like to, wish your guests well or any of that stuff? Do you have any further questions for me?
Nope. 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 No. No. It was nothing like that.
As you can tell, I could talk about this stuff for days. So whatever.
Days. Oh my god.
Bore everyone to death.
No. That is not the problem. Our laptop will discharge.
Right. 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 Right.
Yeah.
I got you. I
Okay.
got you.
So for our listeners who want to connect with you or want to get help from you, where can they go?
So I have a website, paulgibbons.net.
Mhm.
I have a Substack, which is called Paul Gibbons or Think Bigger, Think Better. Think Bigger, Think Better. And that's a brand I use as a Substack. It's very inspirational to me.
Mhm.
that as a kind of way of thinking about the world. We need to be more ambitious and we also need to be more rational in a nutshell. So that's that. And then all my books are on Amazon and they're on Amazon.in too. If you have Indian audience, I'm sure some of your audience are in India.
Yep. Well, that's good. You're doing marketing, you're pitching your product. Finally. That's good.
Yeah, I know. I grew up. What do you say? Look at that. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much
Okay.
for inviting me.
Okay, brother. Thank you so much for joining us. It was really fun.